and if he wishes, he would move that, and then that record would be expunged. Otherwise, the question cannot be asked by the presiding officer. That's the point I'm making. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I think my colleagues have not understood me. Otherwise, the point I'm raising is, as a presiding officer, if we have that precedent enter that the presiding officer who has been offended becomes also now the judge to decide in the House, next time we might have. So I was just giving guidance that we can prepare a motion afterwards and then have it resolved.
Just wait a bit. Maybe, I've not taken offense with what Honorable Sarah Opend said. Maybe because he had not heard my side, because I went to even to Muzei to ask for permission, Muzei granted it. So maybe I should.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I indicated that I said this in good faith, and you equally said you would reach out to the Vice President, but I want to state, Right, Honorable Speaker, that allow me withdraw this statement.
Thank you. Thank you. So once it's withdrawn, it's expunged from the record. Honorable Samji? Yeah.
You see,
thank you.
Mr. Speaker, the rules are very clear. Withdrawing and expunging are completely two different things. The moment the Honorable Sarah Openg made that statement, she lost. She lost the right to be the one because we are very angry. So I therefore want to move that her entire statement is expunged from our record. Mr. Speaker, that is the motion, and the rules are very clear that we just put the matter to vote.
Just let me make it very. Is the motion seconded? Because even Honorable Sarah Good, Honorable Sirwani, Honorable Sewungu, Honorable Bigaros, Honorable Nyeko, Honorable Pamela, Honorable Timosho. So I thank you. I now put a question that the statement by Honorable Sarah Pendi be expunged. The whole statement, including the withdrawal part, be expunged. Those in favor say and to the contrary no. The ayes have it. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Right. Honorable colleagues.
Procedure.
Yeah. But honorable colleagues, you know the rules. You can't access a microphone without permission of the presiding officer. So, no, honorable colleagues, I just encourage you that when you have such issues, you consult. It helps a lot. We avoid situations. But I never take. Let's go. The elders have guided very well. Honorable Gilbert Oranya.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, since this is my first time to speak this year, I would like to say Happy New Year to my colleagues and to you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I raise on a matter of national importance concerning the killing of Dr. Ochara Samuel, the district veterinary officer of Amoro District Local Government. Right Honorable Speaker, the killing of Dr. Ochara took place on the 25th of January, 2024 at 2 a.m. Right Honorable Speaker, Dr. Ochara was in the company of the DPC of Amoro, the Deputy DC of Amoro, and the RDC of Amoro District Local Government. And they were moving late night on claims that they were implementing the the presidential directives of evicting the Balalo from Amoro district. Right, Honorable Speaker, late at that time, the DPC of Amoro and the Deputy DCO and RDC informed the community that Dr. Chora was shot dead at that late hour by one Kopolo Akeo Francis. Right, Honorable Speaker, the death of our DVO shocked everyone in Acholi sub-region. Right now, we do not know exactly what happened at that late hours at 2 a.m. in the morning. Yet Dr. Chora was called right from his home. He was picked from his home by the DPC and the Deputy DCO of Amoro. Right, Honorable Speaker, the issues of Balalo in our area is quite serious. Our prayers is that one, investigation should be done thoroughly on the DPC of Amoro, the Deputy DCO of Amoro, and the RDC of Amoro on the circumstances surrounding the death of Dr. Chara. And two, Kopolo Ikeo Francis, who is claimed to have caused the death of Dr. He should also be properly investigated. Further, Honorable Speaker, according to the father, indicates that there were no bullets shot at Dr. Ochara. What the doctor told the father, that there's scars, there's some big wound on the body, but no bullet was seen. Therefore, we are thinking that something might have happened to the DVO of Amoro. Right, Honorable Speaker, I pray that the minister concerned takes serious steps on this matter, and we really request for the report as fast as possible to console the family. I beg to move.
Thank you. Sorry about that, Honorable Gilbert. Right, Honorable Prime Minister, though we must take caution that this is a criminal matter, like the way you've said investigations should be done thoroughly, indeed they should, but the issue of linking up with the community so that it doesn't spread is a very, very important issue. Beyond the criminal investigations and all that, there is community engagement on such issues. Otherwise, some people might think because of issues of Bararo, now they've started killing and it spreads beyond. But right now, Prime Minister?
Right, Honorable Speaker, we're indeed sorry for what happened to our DVO because we got that information that as they were moving in the car, where he was seated, in front, that this person, I think that the couple had left the bullets in the chamber, and then a bullet got out of the chamber into the leg of that person, that man, who is a couple, the owner of the gun, and went into the cabin where the DVO was seated.
Right, Honorable, can we
yes.
not go?
No, I'm just saying that because we are very sorry. I just wanted to say something.
Hansard is an
Yes.
official public record.
Yes.
So we have to be
So what I wanted to say is that we are very sorry about that. And you know, that is a story that we had, but the investigations have to be thoroughly done to know exactly what happened. And a report will be given to this parliament. I thank you.
Thank you. No, Parliament does not receive such reports. They are not ours. These are reports for the DPP and all that. Yeah? But what is very important from what I got, engaging the community. For example, with preliminary information, cool tensions, you would engage readers from the area MP and all that, and you manage the community on such matters. So I request, Right Honorable, arrange with the Minister for Internal Affairs. Tomorrow you meet with these MPs, because I can see they need to tell something to their people on the ground, okay?
Honorable colleagues, members of parliament, tomorrow we shall have a meeting in my office, that is third floor, so with the Minister of Internal Affairs
Time?
at 10.
Thank you. Honorable Lino Singopek.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise on a matter of national importance. In a letter addressed to the Executive Director of Kampala Capital City Authority on 17th December 2023, African Development Bank threatened to suspend disbursement of almost US dollars 288 million to KCCA for the reconstruction of the dilapidated road networks or infrastructure system in Kampala. The bank says Uganda has failed to provide counterpart funding and non-compliance with environmental and social safeguards. The bank said they will suspend the funding to KCCA under the project effective 1st February 2024. My prayer is the minister should come and explain to us the steps taken so far, because we don't want our roads to be affected, and the roads that are under construction. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, did you want to say nothing about that?
Mr. Speaker, regarding this matter with ADB, I chaired a meeting in December involving the two ministers for Kampala and the executive director. We, together with the bank, we made a decision to provide the counterpart funding amounting to 15 billion. And if you check properly in this quarterly release for Q3, we have actually provided 20 billion for this purpose.
Thank you. Now, but beyond counterpart funding, there were other critical issues in that letter which I saw. Issues to do with PAPs, with the environment, and which were not under your docket. Okay, so I think with such issues, the best way, because the minister coming here, reading a statement from the technical people sometimes is not enough. So let the committee summon the minister, okay? The minister is responsible, the KCCA, and the committee, you report back to this house on Thursday with a brief, because you see, the deadline is for Friday. Okay, so we don't have much time. We want to get a very clear update on what has been taken as serious steps to address this matter. Honorable Nkunyinji, Mwada.
Right Honorable Speaker and members, I raise on a matter of national importance regarding the 450 Ugandan nationals who are currently held as hostages in Myanmar, popularly known as Burma. I've received correspondences, of course, as a shadow minister, because the line minister of foreign affairs is regularly absent. But I've received correspondences from a number of victims suggesting that about 450 Ugandans are being held as hostages in Myanmar by rebel groups. Equally, I've also received disturbing information from a number of Ugandans in Cairo and Egypt that they have been denied exit with a requirement to pay over $500,000 in immigration fines as a new policy in Cairo. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, my prayers are that government of Uganda and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs comes here and brief this House on the actual number of Ugandans being held in Myanmar by rebel groups and which efforts are being initiated and taken to rescue these Ugandans. Equally, which measures are being initiated to rescue the Ugandan nationals who are currently stuck, majority detained in Egypt and in the other countries of the Middle East. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, come on Tuesday next week with a statement regarding this matter. It's a very, very critical matter which needs urgency. So Tuesday next week. Yes, Honorable Timuga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you earlier guided that in order for some of our new members to be known, especially on the opposite bench, that the shadow ministers could occupy the front desk. And at the moment, I'm seeing some senior shadow members sitting at the back, and we have a lot of space at the front unoccupied. Thank you.
Now, they have refused to listen to the speaker, so I have forgiven them. Okay? But they'll find a way. Rope, you should mobilize your people to always be on the front bench. It's a sweet bench. Colleagues, yes. Please, whip. Yes, I think whip. I should do that. So please, Honorable Chimosho, Honorable colleagues, some of you raised issues. No, there's no one on the floor, so your point of clarification does not fall anywhere.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, I'm raising on a matter of national importance. And you had guided on this matter, but I'm requesting that when I write on it, I will also put the reason why I'm bringing it back. Right Honourable Speaker, there is foot and mouth outbreak in the cattle corridors. Right Honorable Speaker, not only Western, because I've had it even in Ukedaya. Right Honorable Speaker, this has been happening every time, now and again. Right Honorable Speaker, Minister of Agriculture has been on record that they cannot afford to vaccinate animals as it is required from the government coffers. And now they have issued a circular for total quarantine on animals and animal products. Right now, Speaker, we are talking about children going back to school. We are talking about people with loans, bank loans that they need to clear. We are talking about people going to hospitals for treatment. And you are telling them, you are issuing total quarantine on animals and animal products. In my constituents of Kazo and Chirhura, they entirely depend on animals for survival. Right Honourable Speaker, what hurts me most is that the commissioner issuing these quarantines is seated in Entebbe. From the time the outbreak happened, she has not stepped, not even part of her technical team, to come and assess. Typically behaving like when we are still a protectorate, getting directives from UK to Uganda on what should happen without even an assessment on the ground. Right Honourable Speaker, when you talk about total quarantine, you're talking about people losing money. Right Honourable Speaker, it is a responsibility of government to vaccinate these animals. If it fails, one of my prayers is that they should consider compensating people for the business lost, because it is a responsibility of government. Two, Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, I knew Honourable Semujo would come in because it affects the West and he doesn't think West exists. Right Honourable Speaker, the law we are operating with is a the law we are operating with.
Point of order. Honorable Timosho, why are you entering into Semuju's heart? Speak out whatever is.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I love Honorable Semuju, and it was out of the excitement that I mentioned his name. Thank you very much.
So kind of withdraw that. But you remember we passed the bill here. So this business of men loving men.
I withdraw. I withdraw, Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, with my guidance, I withdraw the statement. Right, Honorable Speaker. The very important issue here is that we're operating with the law of 1918. The Animal Diseases Act was put in place in 1918. And that is the law that we are moving with. We are not looking at the considerations of the economy. We are not looking at the changing trends. We are not looking at anything. And we are still using the same law to address the 2023,
Prayers,
24.
prayers, Honorable.
My prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, is that my first prayer is that the ministry should consider amendment of this law immediately. But two,
On matters of national importance, I don't allow you.
my second prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, is that there should be a consideration by this government to compensate people for what they lose out of its failure to do its responsibility. Three is that, Right Honorable Speaker, my last prayer is that, Right Honorable Speaker, my last prayer is that the Ministry of Agriculture should go on ground immediately, do an assessment, and address issues from the technical point of knowledge, and not sitting in Entebbe to address the issues of Kazo and Chiruhura and Kotido, where animals are being affected, and Bokedea. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Now, Honorable colleagues, I saw the letter from the Permanent Secretary Minister of Agriculture. And I saw the districts Budaka, Bukedeya, Bukomansimbi, Butareja, Poto City, Gomba, Isinjiro, Kabarole, Kasanda, Kayunga, Kazo, Kiruhura, Kumi, Chankwanzi, Chegegwa, Chotera, Ruka, Ruengo, Yantonde, Mbarara, Mitiana, Mpiji, Mubende, Nakaseke, Nakasongora, Ntungamo, Rakai, Rwampa, you know? And this is what I was talking about, that such a program, when you have such interventions, use a platform of parliament to come here and you engage, because these members of parliament will be questioned in their constituencies. They will be stuck. And again, as parliament, you don't want to have a situation whereby one day you will be accused that we are fighting FMD, we put a quarantine, you parliament, you came, you said stop it, therefore we are allowed, and it went on. That's why I had felt that it would be imperative for the minister to bring a statement here, to put him on the spot from the issues of the road to what, but from what he has told us here. But again, now the urgency of it, because when you, like, I know some of these districts depend on cows, and their children are going back to school. What are we going to do about it? But again, are we going to resolve here that go and lift the quarantine, people sell cows, and you cause another crisis? You know, so it is better when we have a minister here, and they give us really clear information on what. Honorable Chivumbi wanted to guide on the same. Then,
Right, Honorable Speaker, I read that letter, and somebody whistleblower brought it to my attention. But I have a suspicion of that letter. Because when I've looked at the districts where they are trying to quarantine, they've left out all the districts of Acholi. I'm suspecting that they are now saying that the Balaros in Acholi, please don't move, because the rest of the country has foot and mouth disease. So the essence of that letter should be interpreted properly, because I'm suspecting those people who are moving Bararo in Acholi are behind this move. And I'm fully aware of the background of it, and I'm suspicious because, Right Honorable Speaker, somebody lobbied me to move this matter of national importance. And I'm suspecting that this issue should be thoroughly investigated.
Yeah. Honorable Chimosho, what has disturbed you on this?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I find it very unfortunate for a seasoned member of parliament. We are discussing issues affecting the people. People who are earning zero. They want to take their children to school. And you politicized this matter. I have really lost hope in all the respect that I had in you.
Information.
Veterinary doctor.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, foot and mouth disease is a science. It is both economical, but it is also a disease. And I want to request that we refrain from the politics. I went to school for 10 years to study what we are debating today. Right Honorable Speaker, we have serious issues, and I can clearly understand where Honorable Chimosho is coming from. Our people, many of them, these animals is their livelihood. I want to support your guidance that the Minister of Agriculture should come on the floor of Parliament and report and make a statement so that the nation is guided. We cannot have 32 districts under quarantine. Our people are not going to survive. Some of the districts where FMD is, they are just sub-counties. Not every part of the district is covered with FMD. They need to come here and present a scientific paper, report, so that this is guided. Mr. Speaker, lastly, one of the issues that has brought us problems in terms of disease control, it is because we decentralize disease control. Currently, the districts, the district veterinary officers and the entire system, they are detached from the center. You find another DC issues a permission for someone to move animals. And that has caused serious problems. So I want to request that we amend his prayers and also include that the veterinary services in this country be re-centralized as it was in the past, so that we can be in control of the disease control in this country. I so submit.
Thank you, Doctor. I had allowed Doctor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, before I say something, I want to register my condolence with the family and the people of Northern Uganda upon losing a colleague who was actually a district veterinary officer. This particular issue we're discussing is very contentious. I can now imagine a situation where a district veterinary officer who has been in charge has lost his life. And we're talking about outbreak of FMD. I want to agree with the colleagues and more so Honorable Kimosho, whatever the case will be. That one. FMD is a serious disease. And if not controlled, it can really put our country in a very big problem. I remember one time I stood on the floor of Parliament and I personally proposed that we would borrow a leaf from Kenya, where a factory was established and it is seriously manufacturing vaccines for livestock diseases, and FMD is one of them. There was a statement that was made that Uganda was in the process of having a factory, but that has not been implemented. We are having children going back to school, and not only children. Most of us derive our livelihood from animals. And it is very unfortunate that when FMD occurs in an area, the minimum period that a place can suffer is actually 6 months. So now in a situation like this one, or even likely if this issue is not handled properly, we may reach 1 year when a district is quarantined. So I really want to urge honorable colleagues, let us put all our attention on this matter, because the more we continue hearing outbreaks of FMD in various places of Uganda, the whole country will be quarantined. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Now, Honorable colleagues, you see now where the problem comes from. If we operate by letters coming from technical people to technical people without engaging the community, you fall into such a situation. So because of the urgency of this matter, I had given 2 weeks, but let the minister on Thursday bring a statement to this effect, and I will give 1 hour. Okay, we shall have 1 hour of handling this matter so that we can accommodate all of you. I see Chirhura wanted to speak. I see Amwata wanted to speak. I see Kasanda, you know. So let's do it that way on Thursday. But right, Honorable Prime Minister, please ensure this is done, okay, on Thursday. Now, Honorable colleagues, the other issues, I have some issues, but I found most of them can easily fall into the debate for BFP. So I will carry it on from there. Next item.
Item number 3 on the order paper, bills first reading.
Just wait. Let us first have the bill, because I've allowed the bill before. I will allow you later. I will allow you later. Honourable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill titled the Civil Aviation Authority Amendment Bill 2023 be read for the first time. Right Honorable Speaker, I hereby lay on table the bill I beg to lay, and the accompanying certificate of financial implication in compliance with Section 76(1) of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 and Rule 1171 of the Rules of Procedure of the Parliament of Uganda. I beg to lay.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The bill stands referred to the Committee on Physical Infrastructure. But honourable colleagues, the minister engaged me on this matter with the Attorney General, and this appears to be a very, very, very urgent matter to do with the certification of our airport, Entebbe International Airport, to continue receiving traffic. Issue that came out of the audit, and they are saying you must do this by this time or withdraw your certificate. So, Honourable Minister, before I can give a timeline, let me give you 2 minutes. You explain the urgency of the matter and why it came up this quick, and then I see how best we can handle with the committee.
The Civil Aviation Authority Amendment Bill 2024.
Sorry. Thank you. Sorry.
Right Honorable Speaker, apologies. Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda is a signatory to the International Convention on Civil Aviation, ICAO, 1994, and under Article 37 of the convention, Uganda as a member state is obliged to comply with ICAO international standards and recommended practices contained in the 19 annexes of the convention. The ICAO Universal Oversight Audit Program was here in Uganda and conducted a survey and an audit from 6 September 2023 and ended on 18 September 2023. In addition, Uganda is scheduled for a universal security audit program, which is continuous monitoring approach, commencing today, January 2024 to 8 February. The auditors are already in the country, and this audit is intended to monitor Uganda's compliance with ICAO safety and security related matters of safety, oversight obligations under the convention. During the audit in September, a number of gaps were identified in the primary aviation legislation, the Civil Aviation Act, which, if not addressed, could have exposed Uganda to adverse audit findings that could have a far-reaching implication on the country, including a finding of a significant safety concern. A finding of a significant safety concern is in effect a notice to the world that it is not safe to travel to Uganda or to travel by air to Uganda or on any Ugandan registered aircraft. So that's the matter. It's as urgent as it is. Right, Honorable Speaker, I'll be able to submit, and that's why we need this matter to be fast-tracked.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable colleagues, it's too close, I think. It's a bit of two clauses, but it's all about our conformity to the international specifications and the ongoing audit. If we don't, I don't want us to really have a crisis. So I refer the bill to the committee. Honorable Chair of the committee, meet tomorrow. On Thursday, give us a report here. We shall finish that bill on Thursday. When we have such an urgent matter, sometimes our hands are tied, especially if it's compliance with international requirements. But you'll have to follow the due process for people. Please handle it tomorrow. It's a very, very small bill. Yeah, thank you. Yes, Honorable Semuju. Oh, I had allowed
Mr. Speaker, on this matter.
Yeah.
This government has come here the rules to remove age limit, which was not going to kill anyone. Why are they not moving a motion to suspend on a matter of this grave nature? If they can move that on age limit, we remove everything such that one man can benefit.
Was that a question for me or for Honorable Katu? Yeah, Honorable colleagues, the rule says within 145 days, within 45 days, okay? So if you do in 1 day, if you do in 2 days, as long as you do within 45 days, as per Rule 129 of our Rules of Procedure. So there is no need for him to require that we suspend the rule. Maybe if he wanted us to go beyond 45 days, okay? Honorable Cyrus.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I raised under Rule 141, delays with the bills. 141.1 states, subject to the Constitution, a bill introduced in the House shall not be with the committee for consideration for more than 45 days. 141.2. If a committee finds itself unable to complete consideration of a bill, refer to it in sub-rule 1, the committee may seek extra time from Parliament. 141.3, where extra time is not granted, or upon expiry of extra time granted under sub-rule 2, the House shall proceed to deal with the bill without any further delay. Right, Honorable Speaker. More than 6 months ago, actually last year, you did refer the bill on the National Legal Aid to the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. And you instructed the committee to come back to the House with the report within 30 days. Today, we have gone beyond 30, we have gone beyond 6 months, and the committee has not been able to report back to the House. I want to beg that Chair and Speaker, you invoke the powers of this rule to have this bill considered in accordance with these rules, because actually the rules of procedure are an act of Parliament. In effect, this is a law. By avoiding the law, we are running away from the law, and the law must catch up with those who run away from the law, which may not be a good thing. Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg for your indulgence.
Thank you.
And action.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Honorable Cyrus, if my memory serves me right, there were issues which the committee and the move of the bill and the Attorney General were supposed to work on, because the Committee on Legal Affairs has been doing a fantastic job. By the way, the Vice Chair is here. I was trying to look for the Chair. The Vice Chair is here. Wait, Honorable Cyrus. Honorable Vice Chair Mutembri.
Mr. Speaker, it's not the first time that my colleague is raising this matter. I remember even last time I explained, and he's also aware that this went beyond our control, because the Speaker guided and said that we'd invite, in fact directed, we'd invite the leaders, the Attorney General, the mover, and we have a discussion over this matter. To date, we have not been invited.
Okay. So
we are waiting for the invitation.
Please, I'm going to work on that tomorrow, okay? My office is going to arrange with the Attorney General and you, today after the session, we meet, okay? Tomorrow we meet, so that we have this out of our way. It shouldn't be really this way that we can delay colleagues' bill because of such. And then we know either we are dealing with it or we are not, but it's not even our right. We are just going to ensure the report is presented, but let's reconcile the differences which the Speaker was talking about. I'll consult with her and we solve it tomorrow so that it can come here and we conclude the matter. Okay? Yes. Next item.
Item number 4 on the order paper, laying of papers 4.1, the semi-annual report of inflows, outflows, and assets of the Petroleum Fund for the financial year ended 30th June 2023.
Minister for Finance.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay on table the annual report on inflows, outflows, and assets of the Petroleum Fund for the period ended June 30th, 2023. I beg to lay.
Thank you, Minister. The report stands referred to the Committee on Budget for consideration and reporting back within 45 days. Next item.
4.2, Education Service Commission Annual Performance Report for the financial year 2022-23.
Honourable Minister.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay on table the Education Service Commission Annual Performance Report, financial year 2020-2023. I beg to lay. Right, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. So the report is referred to the Committee on Education, which will process and give us an assessment and report back.
4.3, the report of the Uganda delegation, the 66th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference held in Accra, Ghana, from the 30th of September, the 6th of October 2023, pursuant to Rule 33 of the Rules of Procedure.
Honorable Karwanga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, you sent a delegation of members of Parliament to attend a conference in Accra, Ghana on 30th September last year. Right Honorable Speaker, under Rule 33(2), I'm supposed to give a brief of what exactly happened on that very conference. But because of time, allow me to just give you a hint of what is in this report. Right Honorable, and this conference entitled the Commonwealth Chapter, the Commonwealth Charter, 10 years on the values and principles of parliamentary to be upheld. We had various subtopics of which we attended. After these subtopics, Right Honorable, we got several recommendations. And after this recommendation, Right Honorable, we used that very golden opportunity and we visited the Secretariat of Africa Continental Free Trade, of which we came up with a very crucial resolution that we allow the Committee of Trade also to visit these people so that we can get some good trading trends along that secretariat. Right Honorable, I beg to lay the report.
Thank you, Honorable colleagues. The rules require me to appoint a time for debate. Clerk, please consider this item on the order paper next week so that we can allow debate on it. Thank you. Next item.
Item number 5 on the order paper, motion for the adoption of the National Budget Framework Paper for the financial year 2024-25, 2028-29, and debate ensues.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. You remember on Thursday, we received 2 reports. We received the main report on the budget framework paper from the budget committee, but we also received the minority report. And I gave you time to read, and we agreed that we shall have a very structured debate looking at a national picture. Today you have to speak from an angle of a national picture. Okay? Yeah, and this is a working document, not from a party position, not from a constituency position, it's from a national picture. But the Minister of Finance said there are some clarifications he wanted to make, and then we open debate with Rob. Thank you, Honourable Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we received the 2 reports, and as we sought your guidance, that a few preliminary issues be responded to in order to support the debate which will follow. And I wish to pick out the salient issues in the two reports as follows. Number one is that the budget framework paper referred to the committee had two sealings. Mr. Speaker, this was observed in both the minority and the majority report, and we wish to respond as follows. It was noted that there was a discrepancy between the resource envelope for financial year 24-25 and the total program allocation of Uganda shillings 1.866 trillion. This excess amount was due to the supplementary issued under Vote 130 treasury operations, which was carried forward into the budget for financial year 2024-2025. Accordingly, the amount has been reduced from the budget under Vote 130. Mr. Speaker, the second issue is on suspicious domestic revenue as noted in the minority report. Mr. Speaker, the key growth drivers in financial year 2024-25 are investments in oil and gas sector and government interventions such as Emyoga PDM. These are largely targeting agriculture and are not immediately contributing to the tax base in the financial year 2024-2025. But the expected revenue contribution will be realized in the financial year 2024-2025-6 and the medium term. Additional proposals to raise revenue further should be addressed. We are going to address, Mr. Speaker, there will be additional revenue which we anticipate to arrive at after Parliament has considered the tax measures. Mr. Speaker, on the tax exemptions, Mr. Speaker, the minority report also observes that the Auditor General in his December 2023 report, page 178, queried the tax exemptions amounting to 1.4 trillion granted to various companies. The stated purpose for these exemptions is not met, and yet the practice continues. Mr. Speaker, I wish to respond as follows. All the tax exemptions are provided for under the relevant tax laws. However, the law also provides for the minister powers to pay taxes on behalf of certain strategic investments, notably manufacturing, including operators in the private industrial parks. Mr. Speaker, the commitment in this regard is for the following purposes. 1, import substitution and export promotion, creation of employment to the people of Uganda, and 3, the benefits arising from backward and forward linkages from use of local materials. Uganda is now self-sufficient in production of many previously imported products on account of the above deliberate policy. On the taxation for gold, in financial year 2020-2021, Parliament introduced an export levy of 5% of the value of a kilo of processed gold and 10% of the value of unprocessed minerals. However, in 2021, there was a subsequent amendment to the rates by the Mining Act 2021, which revised the levy to $200 per kilogram of processed gold exported to be collected from the exports effective 1st July 2021. Implementation of the above levy was constrained by the court injunction after the industry players petitioned the High Court challenging the policy. Mr. Speaker, there was an issue in both majority and minority report concerning the conflicting public debt figures. We wish to respond as follows. The composition of public debt stock as defined by the Public Finance Management Act 2015 as at end of June 2023 was Uganda shillings 86.751 trillion, which include the following. One, Uganda shillings 34,545 billion
Procedure.
on domestic debt.
Mr. Speaker, a report on the budget framework paper was presented to Parliament. It actually quotes in big part what the Honorable Musas is doing now. The trouble was that you have other institutions of the state giving different figures. The procedure issue I am raising, whether the Honorable Musas should present his budget framework paper and then seek the first right to debate it, which is in this Parliament, the history is actually irregular. So I am seeking a procedure issue, whether a person who presented one figure that is conflicting with the one of the Auditor General, Bank of Uganda, should be the first to come here and debate his own budget framework paper, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable. When the two reports were received, the Minister for Finance approached me, said there are issues he fears, if not clarified on, then the debate might not come out effectively, because in some of them, it was more or less what he considered really to be misleading, how it had been presented in the different reports. So he requested for little time to make clarifications on those issues before we open debate. And he felt the information he would give as a minister in charge of finance and who presented the budget framework paper would help in the debate. So anything that can facilitate a credible debate in this house, to me, I think it is something which would be acceptable. Honorable Kanya.
Honorable Speaker, last week, after the both reports were presented, and even during the budget committee engagement, that matter came up because these are legal issues. Bank of Uganda is independent, Office of the Auditor General is Office of Parliament. And therefore, the report they present are reports to this Parliament. The Minister of Finance accounts to Parliament through Auditor General. And therefore, we have agreed that the Minister of Finance will hold meeting with the Governor Bank of Uganda, because constitutionally, even under the Public Finance Act, the Minister of Finance is also the exchequer. So we agreed that the Minister of Finance will hold a meeting with the Governor Bank of Uganda, Auditor General, and come up with one unified position instead of us operating in a silo. And therefore, if the minister comes back today without a written position of Bank of Uganda and Auditor General, how will his single position help us to proceed? I beg.
Thank you. Now, these are the questions you would ask him in debate. Okay, these are the questions you're going to ask him in debate here. And they are the questions which will influence whether you should approve the budget framework paper or not, if he gives the answer. And then don't allow to be misread. If his aim is to mislead you, don't allow to be misread. Don't allow him to mislead you, please. No, summarize quickly, Honorable Minister. I allowed you. I'm the one who allowed him. Just make clarifications, not take all this wrong.
Thank
Honorable
you,
Minister.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was saying on the conflicting numbers on the public debt, as at the end of June, our debt stock was 86.751 trillion, comprising of 34,545 billion of domestic debt and Uganda shillings 52,206 billion as external debt. According to the Auditor General's report, public debt amounts to Uganda shillings 97.45 trillion. This gives a variance of 11.4 trillion, which is on account of the following. One is on accounts payable. Mr. Chairman, sorry, Mr. Speaker, sir, whereas our figure does not include the accounts payable, that is court awards, BOU reimbursement, local shares, etc., amounting to 10.5 trillion. This is recognized by the Auditor General. The Auditor General also includes in his recognition of debt deposits which are on government accounts waiting to be transferred to different beneficiaries. And also the audit figure includes pension and gratuity amounting to 316 billion. Mr. Speaker, the last contentious issue which I would like to deal with, sometimes you have to listen what you don't want to hear. Because when you presented your numbers, I listened. Mr. Speaker, the last issue which I would like to respond to in the minority report, there was a matter which arose on wasteful and unavoidable expenditure, especially under presidency. Vote 001 and vote 002. And we wish to respond as follows. Mr. Speaker, the presidency function from both the office of the president and the State House has a support structure that is aimed at ensuring efficient and effective operations. State House has 27 state lodges across the country, and these have different categories of staff. His Excellency the President also has a prerogative to establish initiatives and their corresponding offices to facilitate the operations and those of the Vice Presidency. Some of the initiatives include the poverty alleviation, health monitoring, anti-corruption, investor protection, and youth skilling. The State House staffing structure is therefore tailored to facilitating the needs of the presidency with the staff in the following categories. One, the common cadre staff, including accountants, procurement officers, administrators, policy analysts, economists, among others, who support the administration of State House, given that it is a fully-fledged vote, just like any other government institution that receives appropriation from Parliament. Number two are the technical staff responsible for different initiatives established by the President. Number three are the support staff who are basically in charge of the President and Vice President and are also in charge of the state lodges, including administrative staff, secretaries, and others. It is therefore, Mr. Speaker, not correct to say that expenditures under State House are bloated and wasteful. For instance, the 400 vehicles mentioned include the vehicles under State House, vehicles under Presidency. All the UCs you see are part of the vehicles which were captured in the minority report. On the contrary, the staffing structure and other facilities in the State House are tailored to support effective and efficient operations of the President. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, would like to correct the impression which was created out there that all the expenditures under State House are expenditures incurred by the person of the President in his house. These are institutional expenditures, just like we do with other votes. Mr. Speaker, with this, I beg to submit.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification, Honorable Minister for Finance. The debate starts now. I'll start with the Leader of the Opposition. I add on Honorable Ndezi. I add on Honorable Ababiko. I add on Honorable Keyo and Ntungamo and Dr. Yonga. Then I'll come this side. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, you encouraged us to debate nationally as opposed to in a partisan nature. You can be sure we are going to oblige. Because anyway, that's what ought to happen in this house. There are a few pointers, Right Honorable Speaker and members, that I want to raise regarding our budgetary process and our budget as it is. Number one, Right Honorable Speaker, is this animal called corruption. The Inspectorate of Government conducted a survey and they found that as a country, we lose between 9.1 trillion to 20 trillion shillings per year to corruption. That's the IGG report. Between 9.1 trillion to 20 trillion shillings per year. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, if we don't address this evil called corruption, we'll keep having budgetary shortfalls. Government for a long time keeps talking, huffing and puffing about fighting corruption, and it stops at the talk. We need to roll up our sleeves and deal with this evil called corruption very seriously. In fact, I think we sometimes sanitize this issue by giving it flowery names. We call it corruption, we say misappropriation, squandering of resources. These guys are thieves. The people that are stealing taxpayers' money. And our hope is that government will take serious action as opposed to the talk, because we keep talking and we take little action regarding this issue. I wanted to paint a picture of what 9.1 trillion shillings can do. And by the way, that's the lower limit because the maximum is 20 trillion shillings, according to the IGG report. According to the Ministry of Health, the estimated cost for constructing and equipping a health center for is 13 billion shillings. That's constructing and equipping. Now, 9.1 trillion Uganda shillings can construct and equip 700 health center fors. Just think about that. In all your constituencies, all of our constituencies, the challenges we are grappling with, this money that is stolen by these thieves in government could fix that. And that's 1 year. And the following year, that money can do a lot more. We need to redeem this money. Right Honorable Speaker, according to the Auditor General's report that was just released to us, we are losing 53 billion shillings per annum to ghost employees. These are people who either died, retired, resigned, or who are even non-existent. 53 billion shillings as part of our wage bill every single year. And yet there are things we keep complaining about and this money could fix. Our demand is that government takes stern action against all the culpable accounting officers, because this is the Auditor General's report. And so we know these fellows. We need to take serious action, right, Honorable Speaker? Honorable Speaker, let me talk about fiscal indiscipline. We plan, but then again, we behave as if we do not plan. Every so often, the Minister of Finance comes to Parliament to present supplementary budgets. Now, the understanding of supplementary budgets is that this should be especially for the unforeseeables. But the Minister of Finance, even at the end of last year, kept tabling supplementary budgets for wages and salaries for staff who have running contracts. How does that make sense? These are staff, they've got running contracts, you knew about it, but you've not planned for it. It does not make sense, right, Honorable Speaker, especially if we are talking about having fiscal discipline. We want to see better in that regard. Let me talk a bit about our debt burden. And the Minister of Finance was trying to make us believe that our debt burden is just 86 trillion shillings. It's not true, because debt burden is not that which you borrow only, which you borrow domestically and elsewhere. 10.5 trillion shillings is owed by government to, among others, business persons that supply to government, goods and services. These are people that government has refused to pay. We don't understand why. People borrow money from banks for their businesses. And you are not paying as government. Their businesses are crumbling. And yet these are taxpayers. And actually what we should be doing as government is to, in many ways, propel these businesses. But we are cutting off their wings. They are supplying goods and services to you as government, and you don't want to pay. And you don't even want to consider that as part of your debt burden. I don't understand why. It just does not make sense. And by the way, this figure keeps growing, right, Honorable Speaker. For want of time, I would have taken you through how it has grown every single year. It keeps growing. And for this particular budget that's been presented to us, government has only availed 200 billion shillings